Mystical Space Typhoon doing its name.
In 5th place. I'm sure he tops every one of these we come to. Luke Tyler!
Radiant Typhoon is the deck I piloted to a 5th place finish at the UK Open. 442 players, and I got top 8 with 3 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon in my deck in the year of Big 25. I am beyond excited for the new Link 2 we get in February, so I wanted to play the deck now. Before we get into the deck list, I will talk about it for a minute. The deck is so cool because you have so many pushes. All of your cards are just Speedroid Terratop. To make the deck playable before the Link 2, you have 2 options. Either you play the Tri-Brigade Extract package to make both Sven and Eldum. This lets you draw 2 or draw 1 and set up Virtuous. But the issue with this package is it does not help you beat Droll. So instead, I play Mellow Melody, which allows me to just go for full Fiendsmith combo. After Burst Protocol, you do not need Fiendsmith. I began by winning 7 rounds in a row, including my feature match that we will analyse soon here on YouTube. I lost to Jordan in round 8, and then won round 9. My match against Jordan was the only one that I could have played a bit differently, which I'm happy with, considering I did no testing for this event at all. This entire deck was built on theory alone, and not a single game of practice. Despite that, I would not change a single card in my deck. Deck building has always been a strong trait of mine. You can see some guides about deck building and other stuff on Metafy, where you can join with your first month free, using the promo code BALANCE100. There's a lot of free content for members there, and you also get large discounts on the big products too, such as the Radiant Typhoon Masterclass for Host and Burst Protocol, which is releasing at the end of December, and some other stuff that comes out earlier, such as the Memento Masterclass. But with no further ado, enjoy the deck profile. Crocea is the bread and butter of the heavy Radiant Typhoon engine. It searches 2 from deck or grave, meaning that it can even add from grave to hand if they droll you. It randomly becomes indestructible, and you can even special it off your opponent using a quick play spell, which applies for your turn 2 boss monsters as well. But for Crocea, it means that if you go second with this in your starting hand, and they activate any quick play spell, then you can special Crocea and search 2 before your turn even starts. This card is also randomly indestructible if they have no back row. Searching 2 will windlock you for the rest of the turn, so ideally you want to do it after Fiendsmith stuff, but if you can't, it's no big deal, as you can do a lot while being windlocked, especially with these 2 cards. These boss monsters also special off any quick play spell. Varudun is a monster negate, and Phonix is a spin back for 2 cards. They can also special from grave if MST is activated. This is a separate effect, so you can special them twice from each location. On to the smaller monsters. Sven, Eldum, and Meghala can all special themselves from hand if you have MST in grave, or they have no back row. Meghala is a bit worse without the Link 2, because it windlocks you, but it's still nice for utility. Sven and Eldum are both insane because they get you into everything. Sven grabs a spell or trap, and Eldum grabs a monster. They do not windlock you either, so you can use them to go into the full Fiendsmith combo, as you can use them both to make Mana Melody, which then makes Requiem. And then onto the Radiant spells. Free Chance, Free Vision, and 1 Manifestation. All of them have 2 effects, and they are once per copy. They all share the effect to add MST from deck or grave to hand. Manifestation is a Foolish, Chant is a search for one of these small monsters, and Vision is a draw to discard 1. Manifestation is just an extra name most of the time. Chant and Vision are the good ones. And then we play 3 copies of the best card in the game, Mystical Space Typhoon. We play 3 because our end board consists of 3 MST and Mandate. Mandate turns your MSTs into negates. So now MST does actually negate. This card gets better with a Link 2, but is still really good right now, as it makes your end board more fortified. And you can draw cards from it too, which is also really good. For the Fiendsmith engine, I play 2 Engraver, 1 Lacrima, then 1 Lurie, and 1 Tracts. This engine is amazing for pre-burst protocol, as you can get into it by just making Melody. The deck does not need these cards after the Link 2, but for now they help you so much. Do not tell Joshua Schmidt that these are way better than Runic cards. They give you more space for tech cards, as the quick play spells that we play in this deck are a lot better than Runic cards. I thought about Sanct because it is a quick play spell, but Sanct is just such an awful card. Normally, you can force their grave interaction with Typhoon cards to help Tract into Lurie Resolve. What's also nice with this deck is that Lurie is not that bad to draw. In most Fiendsmith decks, you hate to draw Lurie because it conflicts with your other normal summons. But Lurie and Lacrima are my only 2 normal summons in the entire deck, as the Typhoons don't usually need to consume your normal summon. Sometimes going second, you can even go Super Poly and discard Lurie. Droplet I felt was worse into the wider combo decks than Super Poly, so I only played 2. And for the other breaker, I play 3 Virtuous, because the card is overall solid, and like our other 2 board breakers, is also a quick play spell. So these cards are not only breakers and are good going both first and second, but they have synergy with the entire deck, as they work with certain effects like Phonics, and can be discarded for vision when they are unwanted. And then the only hand trap I play in the entire deck is Fubulos, as with this deck, the board breaker approach is better than the hand trap approach. You can play a mix of both, but I chose to play heavy board breakers with this build as it works better into the current format. Then the last card in the main deck is 1 Tenki. This is the 40th card, and I was between this and a 3rd Droplet. But after doing a lot of test hands, I found that I wanted 1 more card for consistency. So I chose to play Tenki because it can search for Sten. You can also play Shield Bearer, which grabs Eldom, but I chose Tenki instead because Tenki can be sent for Droplet, so it's a bit nicer in that regard. And Droll is not too popular of a main deck card currently. This deck in general is not too bad into Droll, especially if you play the Fiendsmith engine. Speaking of which, onto the extra deck, we have the 1 Melody. The effect is irrelevant, but it is a rank 3 Light Fiend. So you can turn Sven and Eldom into this, to then make Requiem, and we play a fairly large Fiendsmith engine, as this makes our end board stronger, and gives us a higher ceiling going second as well. Until we get the Link 2, I recommend playing these. And then Totem Bird is the only other rank 3 I use, because you want a rank 3 to make after you get Winlocked, and this is a bit better than Gossip or number 3. For the same reason of being Winlocked, I play Win and Doom Eagle, as these give me more plays after I get Winlocked by Meghala or Crocea. And then SP is a good card and requires no explanation. The last 4 cards in the extra deck is just 2 options for Virtuous, and then 2 options for Super Poly. You can't really fit any more options for either due to the Fiendsmith engine, but that's fine. As although you cannot resolve Virtuous 3 times, the 3rd one you search can just be discarded for Vision, Droplet, or Super Poly. And then these cover most matchups for Super Poly. Sometimes you miss a card like Secretarian or Drickettail, or Axon Kicker for Vanquish Soul, but against those decks, you just hide out Spolly anyway. And then onto the side deck, we have 2 Sphere Mode. This one is signed by Marek, and I drew it against DDD, and it was awesome. And then I side 6 more Molchamis, with 3 Perulia and 3 Meows. I don't play Droll or Nibiru or anything, as Droll is extremely hit or miss, Every deck that you think draw is good against has a line around it, so if you are not playing a heavy hand trap deck, I do not think draw is that good. For example, if K9 opens Jokul or Naroi, they just beat draw, and there's some tricks that the Mitsuyumi deck can do to beat draw as well. So I think that going second, the Charmies are just objectively better than draw. I have 3 copies of Ash. You don't care about Charmies too much, but this helps with Drickettail too. But if you want to play a card instead that is directly for Drickettail, then I recommend playing Double Cyclone, as if you pair Double Cyclone with your MST cards, then you just cook them. So these were for going first mostly, and I also have 3 copies of Featherstorm. This card is broken, so it would be silly not to play it, as Crocea is your wind-winged beast. You can even play the Harpy Link too, to play it from hand, but there is no space in this build. So these 14 cards help me with side patterns for every matchup. So I had the space to side an extra deck card as the last slot, which was Typhon. If they negate Crocea, you do not get win-locked, so this can come up going second, and in most matchups going second, I take out either Virtuous or Super Poly, so I normally have space to side this in. For all the side patterns, you can check the guide on Metafy, so that was the deck profile, and I will now show you 2 combos. So the Metafy guide has 10 combos. I'm going to show you 2 of them now, one of which is this one, which is Sven plus any of the quick play spells. And a mistake that I think people will often make with this deck is you don't have to do everything in the draw phase, because you can just chain the spells to draw anyway. So with a hand like this, you would not draw phase vision. You would just hold it, and then just use it in response to draw if they draw you. So we make the rank 3 here, to then link 1 into Requiem. Requiem, go into Lacrima, Lacrima, dump Engraver, make Netcode equip, and then go Engraver, which threatens Caesar. There are 1-card combos in this deck, but because it's a very engine-heavy deck, it is naturally built more around the 2- and 3-card combos. We go Meghala into Crocea, Crocea at 2, I have MST in the trap. So now in their turn we have Caesar, we have MSTs which are both negates with the trap, we have Meghala as well in their turns. After we use the MST, we can summon a monster negate from the deck or the Phonix for a spin 2. You might also want to do Lacrima into Requiem before you do this bit, because you will get win-locked in their turn. We have a bit of a wider combo. This is when you open Engraver plus a Radiant Typhoon monster, and then a spell to trigger the Crocea. So go Sven, Chant Eldom. Because again, there are 1-card combos in this deck, but you're playing a very engine-heavy deck. So you will naturally be playing with more of these 2- and 3-card combos. And the nice part is that your engine is also board breakers too, because MST into your Crocea and your Phonix is really good into a board. And we get the random draw here from the neck equip after we use the effects of Engraver. So that Spolly represents a random draw 1 here. Engraver put back special, tracked. So we bring back Engraver, and we do not make Caesar, but this play threatens Nibiru anyway, because they would use Nibiru there in fear of Caesar. But we're going to make Caesar a bit later. So we bring back Lori, link 2 into the sequence, and then sequence, fuse off Desiree, link 3 into Agnum Day, bring back Engraver, make Caesar, and we go Vision at MST. Summon Crocea. Crocea can then add the Trap and add MST. Then we go Set 4, and then in their turn we can revive the Desiree by going Lacrima onto the Link 3, and then Link 3 onto Desiree. So that is an example of a wider board which is extremely hard to break because you have Caesar plus Desiree plus MSTs which become negates with the trap. You can find more content on this deck and more combos in the guide on Metafy, where you can join with your first month free with a promo code BALANCE100. Thank you for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, consider subscribing, and have a perfectly balanced rest of your day. Adios.